Habari my Kijiji, hello and welcome to my family. This is the Living Kwanzaa channel where we know and understand that learning, loving, and living the 7 principles of Kwanzaa 365 days a year has the power to move our families and our communities and our futures forward. I'm so glad that you're able to join us. This is the week 6 recap for our Umoja sprint. Right now, we are taking a focused look at unity. We're understanding things more deeply than just the surface level and just the principles definition on its own. We're taking some time to understand how we can implement the concept of unity into our life in a more strategic way and a more consistent manner. So that's what we're doing for the last 6 weeks. We have one more week in our sprint. And I say a sprint because even though it feels like 7 weeks is a long time, it really isn't when you throw it in context of the entire year. 52 weeks to work with, 49 of them specifically dedicated to our sprint, and just really understanding in more detail, more depth, what it is we can be doing to ingrain these 7 practices, these 7 principles into our lives. So let's take a look at where we are. I'm so excited about where we are this week. We have come a long way in our Umoja sprint. The sprint is designed as a calendar. You have prompts, activities, challenges, quotes, and affirmations. You have something given to you to do every day. Now, as always, you have options along the way. If something's not fitting into your schedule or something is not fitting in terms of resources or materials, things that you don't have on hand right away, there's plenty of flexibility and ability for you to navigate around those things. You can swap things out. You can add things in from previous weeks that you may not have gotten around to. You can pull things from future weeks if you'd like to. You have total flexibility with this. The way that I've designed it is to give you something so that you don't have to go searching. Everything is programmed for you. You can grab this calendar at flow.page/livingkwanzaa. You can get it. It's quick. It's easy to download. Totally free. Shoot me your email address and I'm going to shoot it right back over to you. All right. So that's what the format looks like. And this, friends, is the recap of week 6. We just finished all of this. So our affirmation always on Sunday. I use my affirmation to open my time every single day. It's something that I use throughout the week. So it appears on Sunday, but I use it to set up how I'm approaching my work throughout the week. This week's affirmation was, I have the ability and desire to strengthen my family, community, nation, and race through unity. So this mirrors the language of Dr. Karenga's definition of unity as given to us in Kwanzaa. And I think that it's really important to go back to the fact that we have that definition, right? But now we have to put that into action. Now we have to actually do something with it. So having the ability and the desire is the ground level. That's where we have to begin. We have to believe that we can, in fact, achieve unity and that we actually want to. There's a lot of conversation around, I'm gonna do for myself right now. There's a lot of conversation around, that's cool for y'all or whatever, but I got my own thing going on. I think we really have to choose unity in these moments. We really have to choose actively that we are going to get together, get on one accord, make some decisions about our family, make some decisions about our community, make some decisions about what our future can be and can look like. And I think we have to decide that we are going to hold to that vision and that we are going to move forward with that vision. So that's a really strong affirmation to start with this week. On Monday, we went into our journal prompt. How does my community reflect or lack unity? Having to actually look at things and see where maybe we're already being successful in this segment of our lives. But over here, we could use some focus. This could use some help, right? What aspects of your community are reflecting unity currently? Where is that happening and happening with ease and happening well? And then also, where are some areas where we maybe need to sit down and have a meeting? Maybe it's time for a chat, right? because conversation is always a great place to begin. So thinking about those things and writing those things out really invited me to look at several layers of my life and several aspects of my life. And having to put it on paper has clarified it once again for me. I'm always amazed, even though it happens every time I sit down to journal. It becomes so much more clear when the words are on the paper, and also when I can go back to the words on the paper a little bit later and say, okay, I can see where this is continuing to happen, or I can see where we've made progress in this regard. So I love journaling for that specifically. The second part of this journal prompt was also really important. And I think that this is something that I've tried to drive home in all of the journal prompts, the activities, the challenges, in all of the things that I'm asking you to do. Ultimately, I'm asking you to come back to personal accountability. What role can I play in fostering that communication, that connection, that solidarity? How can I be helpful in building unity in my community, in my family, in my nation, within the race? And anytime that I refer to within the race, I'm well aware that race is a construct, well aware of that. But I also know that culturally, among Black people, there is a need for us to join, to unify, and to come together on one accord. So when you hear me reference within the race, I am simply mirroring and reflecting the language given to us by the founder of Kwanzaa, and not just continuing or perpetuating a construct that is not always helpful, right? So we've established that. Okay, so take your time with your journal prompts. I like to really just make my journals beautiful, not just scribbling the words out or sketching out ideas. If that is your preference, go with it, go with God. But I always prefer to use like my colored pens and make banners and make highlighters and use my stickers. I really get into office supplies and all of the things that make my journal an art piece rather than just a container for words, right? Taking that time is important to me, and I rather enjoy a cup of tea or a glass of wine, depending on the time of day and what else I have going on. Just carving out those few little special moments to work with that has been rewarding. And I would venture to say that as I go through this sprint myself, it's probably one of my favorite things. So Tuesday, we have an activity where you were asked to design a logo and a slogan or a tagline for your family. So sort of thinking about branding, right? What colors would you use? What symbols are important to you and to your family? Make sure that it expresses pride in who you are as a unit, as a group, right? So with everyone contributing, what can that look like? I think I've mentioned before that I really feel that the tagline for the Branch family is just get it done. I am amazed at how much we do, how many things we are active in and take part in. But I'm more amazed in the fact that we're handling our own when it comes to all of those things. I love that I can celebrate my husband's success. I can celebrate my child's success. I feel like they have been able to watch me do some things and be successful. And I think that it's important that we all at this point have one thing that we're all participating in and we're all having success with. So the symbols and the things that kind of got tossed around for us were a lot of fun to to kind of just sit and chat about and laugh about and listen to. And you learn things about your family in conversation when you just sit and talk. And when there's a specific question that they can focus in on and that they can share about. My husband told me some fun little stories from his childhood about, a dog that they had, and about all of the dogs that they've had. And it just was fun to sit and listen to him chat and reminisce. My daughter has friends at school that she's excited about, and of course her Taekwondo journey. And it just was a lot of fun to sit and enjoy my family in that way, right? To talk about something that didn't have a whole lot of gravity, but was bringing us closer together nonetheless. When we came to Wednesday's challenge was to reconnect online or in person with a group you may have lost touch with. Think about alumni associations, sororities, fraternities, community groups, church, families, anywhere at all that you may no longer be feeling unified, maybe no longer feeling part of that circle. I still have some homework to do around that. I'll talk more about it a little bit later, but this challenge really hit home for me, and I did not expect it to. It landed in a place where there's some events from last week that I'm going to have to circle around to and chase down and have some conversations about getting reunified. I'm really, really excited about the fact that I'm going to be hitting my college campus soon. I'm planning to travel and get back up to Tennessee State and say, hey, how are you, to a bunch of people, and reconnecting with that community has been a lot of fun for me. Really excited about where that can potentially lead, some of the connections, and just seeing how proud I am of a lot of my classmates and friends that I knew while I was in Nashville, seeing how they have grown and stretched out and done amazing things. I really want to connect with them and encourage them and see how we can work together from a distance, and even just keeping up with their families and the developments in their lives. I think it's important to maintain those ties. And as we get older and as we get more busy and as our families grow and as our businesses flourish and our careers thrive, it gets hard to hold on to all the things and to all the people. But I think making a concerted effort is the spirit that this is dedicated to. So just really landing in that spot of, oh, wow, yeah, I do need to reach out to so-and-so. Oh, yeah, I did enjoy that activity. Let me go see how everybody's doing. I think that's important, and it can invite some joy into our lives in a moment where we really need it. We need some joy. So connecting with those folks and following up on those conversations. If you didn't take part in that challenge, that's one that I highly recommend. So on Thursday, we have our quote, and this comes to us from our good brother, Marcus Garvey, who just received a presidential pardon from former President Joe Biden. It's tremendous when a name sort of pops back up into the ether. I've been a Marcus Garvey fan for a long time. Just hearing his name in the space and seeing people come around to some of the things that he said, some of his speeches, some of his ideas, seeing people sort of come back to that and see some parallels and understand him in a different light has been really exciting for me. Because like I said, I've been a fan of Marcus Garvey for a long time now. And being able to introduce people to him and to his thinking, and to actually elaborate on some connections that I've been able to make from him to Kwanzaa. Now, naturally, Marcus Garvey died years and years and years before Kwanzaa was a thing. But some of his ideals, some of his speeches, if you pull quotes and you pull material and you look at things, these timeless principles, I keep saying, these principles keep showing up, and they keep showing up in the mouths of great people, in the mouths of great leaders. They keep being put forward, and there's a reason, right? So that connection to his work and what he did is really important for me to elaborate. I did a video on that. You can go back and watch that series, Living Kwanzaa with Marcus Garvey, and I go one specific principle at a time and really talk about what he said and how that connects back, and just give some context around the information. So go check out that video. It's not long at all. And I think you'll really enjoy that. I'm doing that with a lot of Black history figures, and you'll start to see those rolling out too. So the quote actually says, "The great problem of the Negro for the last 500 years has been that of disunity." So go on and tell us the truth, right? not being unified was part of the charge of the enslavers who captured us from the very beginning. They began immediately to separate us into factions, into groups, making sure that tribes did not stay together and were not able to communicate, mixing those groups in different ways as they were transported across the ocean, being sold apart and away from your family, not being able to build unity has been the problem of the Negro, in quotes, for the last 500 years. And I think that it was forced on us for so long and in so many different situations that we have lost the art of naturally being in harmony with each other, naturally being unified. It's a lot harder for us to work at it and get it done. In the instances that we have done it and we can do it, you can tell the difference. We rise every time. So I think taking Marcus Garvey's words to heart and understanding that this has perpetually been at the forefront of the problems that we experience, it has perpetually been a barrier to us achieving greater progress, achieving greater success. I think we need to take a look at that and really understand the foundation from which that problem arises. So that's the quote. Friday's activity was to get an old school jigsaw puzzle, right? With cardboard pieces and color on one side and plain on the other. If there's a different type of puzzle that you're interested in, I know now they make like 3D puzzles, or they make them round, or they make them two-sided to add to the challenge. The spirit of it is to do something that doesn't like beep or click or have flashing lights, to do something together where it's offline, right? Because that allows you to sink deeply into the conversation with each other. That allows you to start to see and understand how your family or your friends or your community or your coworkers, to see how they process. It's always interesting to me to watch how people work, how people problem solve. I'm always intrigued by that. And to sit back and go, oh, okay, that's not how I would have done that, but you got to the answer, is always fun. I have a 6-year-old, and puzzle pieces, it's a lot. That's a lot. It's a lot. So we pulled out a matching game. But we had great fun with the matching game, and just to kind of see her mind working, and see she's hilarious. I love that baby. That little girl is so funny. But just to see how her brain works, and to be able to, talk a little bit about culture and to ingrain some things into the conversation, it did in fact amount to time well spent together. And working together is not always easy. But I think doing these little low risk, high reward activities can help open the door and help to give us some practice in working in teams or working together, and make it possible for us to jump in there and do all the more, right? So Saturday we come back to our journal, and this asked us to recall a family or a group tradition that really brought us together in unity, to explore why it was powerful or why it worked, and also to explore how we might replicate it in the here and now. So for me, if you say family together time, I'm going straight to Friday night fish fry at my grandparents' house, right? My grandfather was an avid fisherman. He loved to fish. He was very, very good at it. He had his own boat, and he would travel and sometimes like go pick up a cousin, and they would go, off to this lake somewhere out in the backwoods in Florida. Sometimes he would take his boat and he would go right off the pier somewhere close by. He had fishing buddies and fishing friends, and he would come home just loaded down, absolutely loaded down. And there would be so much fish that he would have to sometimes fillet it, prep it, clean it and everything, and put it in Ziploc bag and freeze it. it got to the point where we needed a separate deep freeze in the garage to hold all the fish. But the other thing that I loved about that is that fish created an environment and an excuse, rather, for everybody to come over. He would call everybody up and be like, hey, I got fish, y'all. I'm about to fry it up. Y'all come get some. And it created just such joy and ease in our household, just to the smell of fish grease, that cast iron skillet, big black cast iron skillet, those huge potatoes. He would throw the potatoes in there and season them up and everything. Family would come over and bring a dish, so it turned into something of a potluck in addition to the fish fry. And those Friday nights were such happy times. It was me and it was all my cousins, it was all my aunts and uncles, my parents and my grandparents. It was truly a moment where everybody was there and we could laugh and tell jokes and tell old stories, and kids could show off their awards from school and our artwork. And if I was working on a dance routine, everybody would stop what they were doing and watch me dance, or I could sing a little song. And right, it was a moment where I had a captive audience. They were great times. So in journaling about that and thinking about how I can bring that into the here and now, my family is now spread out, right? We're not all living in a 10-mile radius anymore where we can like hop on the phone and all be together inside of a few minutes. But I think in COVID, what we began to do was to have family group calls and being able to see each other's faces, at least on the screen. We have a family group text now where we can send our photos and our updates and funny links, and just pebbling each other. If you don't know what pebbling is, go look that up. That's a fun new term that I learned this week. I think finding digital ways of all of us getting into a space and just sharing for a few minutes just to check in is probably the closest thing that I'm going to get to that in the here and now. And learning to be okay with that is also a challenge, because you want to have hands on your loved ones, but you gotta we are where we are and things are what they are, and we're just having to be creative about how we learn to engage with each other and love each other and be in unity. So that's what the week looked like. It was another great week. I cannot believe we're already at week 6. Y'all, take a quick sneak peek at week 7. These are the activities and everything that are embedded. Don't forget, you have a bonus week that is already included. If there's something in here or something along the way that you feel like you want to swap out or switch out, you are welcome to dive into that bonus week. If you've missed something along the way, you are welcome to go back to any of the previous weeks and pull information, pull journal prompts, pull quotes, take a look at all of that stuff and work through it. Remember, you can get this totally for free. I want everybody to have access to this at flow.page/living Kwanzaa. You'll see a link that says Umoja Sprint. All you have to do is click that, drop in your email address. I'm going to send you this calendar in its entirety. All right. So friends, I'm so excited. I'm very, very happy that we've been able to come this far. I know that going forward, we are moving into our final week of the sprint. I can't believe it. I'm very excited that there is going to be some good things that pop up, I think, out of the conclusion week as we study and as we read and as we journal, as we do those activities and spend the time with our family and friends and our communities and our coworkers, right? As we do all of the things, I just know that good things are going to arise from the work that we are putting in, right? So I want to thank everybody, wish you a happy Sunday, have a great week, and I will see you soon. Take care, y'all.